Alexander Hamilton, the White House, Otis, what's not to love? Hello, welcome back to my channel. My name is Sam Scott-Thorne, his name is Otis, and I am a vocal coach based in Glasgow, and he is not. Now, if you'd like to meet and explore your voice a little more, you can find me on sstvocals.com. You can also find me on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and Patreon, and I'll put the handles down below and over there. Over there. That was a wee bit funky, a wee bit jazzy. Did you like that, Toty Bear? Did you like it? So if you'd like to consider becoming a patron, you have access to things like early release of reactions, you can fast track reactions, become a reaction, there's special roles on my Discord server, and you get access to my Vocal Anatomy 101 series, so consider becoming a patron and help shape my channel. Okay, we are going through the Hamilton series, all 47 songs I think, and we are up to My Shot. Now I couldn't find a Broadway or stage performance of this, I could only find them performing it at the White House. So we're gonna go and listen to that. Are you actually gonna stay behind me the whole time? Okay.
Ooh, who are you?
Who are you?
Who are you?
Okay.
Who is this kid? What's he gonna do?
I am not throwing away my shot. I am not throwing away my shot. Hey, yo, I'm just like my country. I'm young, scrappy, and hungry, and I'm not throwing away my shot. I'm gonna get a scholarship to King's College. I probably shouldn't brag, but dag, I'm amazed and astonished.
Okay, so Lin, his voice is really twangy here. I'm not throwing away my shot. It's right up there, so your epiglottis is really in play to make that oral twang sound. The epiglottis is basically creating a separate vocal chamber above the vocal folds. So it catches the air, gets some air pressure back and forces it out in an even more kind of pointed way. So you get this really ringy pingy sound. It gives this tone like a lot of intent. I'm not throwing away my shot. It really kind of does feel like it's being stabbed. It's great.
The problem is I got a lot of brains but no polish. I gotta holler just to be heard with every word. I drop knowledge, I'm a diamond in the rough. A shiny piece of coal, trying to reach my goal. My power of speech, unimpeachable.
I like the way that he's got this flowing. It's kind of moving like this. You can actually kind of follow the movement of his hand to find the intention that he's trying to do with his voice. A lot of folks do this. If you want to kind of get a visual representation of what they're trying to do with their voice, watch what they're doing with their hands, because usually we kind of influence our sound that way. I don't know why, but a lot of singers do it.
Only 19, but my mind is older. These New York City streets get colder. I shoulder every burden, every disadvantage. I've learned to manage. I don't have a gun to brandish. I walk these streets famished. The plan is to fan this spark into a flame. But damn, it's getting dark, so let me spell out the name. I am the ALEXANDER. We are meant to be.
It's kind of getting a little bit gravelly as well, so there's a wee bit of that kind of slack vocal fold kind of energy coming through, and it just gives this kind of tiny little rattle through. It's very, very nice. This jumper's got so many fibres on it that are going up my nose. Anyway.
A colony that runs independently. Meanwhile, Britain keeps shitting on us endlessly. Essentially, they tax us relentlessly. Then King George turns around, runs a spending spree. He ain't ever gonna set his descendants free. So there will be a revolution in this century. And to me,
He says in parentheses.
but don't be shocked when your history book mentions me.
So that little bit, he actually went into a little bit of nasal twang as well. That's where your velum will come back and meet the back of the tongue. It's always present in anything that's got NGs in it. Sing, for example. Your velum has to come down to make that sound. So if you can kind of try and keep it as low to your tongue as possible, you get that kind of really thick, muffled sound. And when you combine that with that other twangy sound he's got going, it just thickens even more. It's really nice.
I will lay down my life if it sets us free. Eventually you'll see my ascendancy. And I am not throwing away my shot. I am not throwing away my shot. Yo, I'm just like my country. I'm young, scrappy, and hungry, and I'm not throwing away my shot. I am not throwing away my shot. I am not throwing away my shot. Hey, yo, I'm just like my country. I'm young, scrappy, and hungry, and I'm not throwing away my shot.
I like how they managed to get that very, very steady and kind of colloquial. So it's a vertical kind of position. There's no ha kind of sound coming through. It's like they're speaking, obviously, because that's very, very close to rap in that part. You could maybe argue that the notes are a little bit too extended for rap, but it falls in that area. So they're all matching that tone. They've all kind of gone into that same space with Lin, and then they've broken each line and added a harmony on each. It's really, really cool. Really nice.
It's time to take a shot.
I dream of life without a monarchy. The unrest in France will lead to anarchy. Anarchy, are you saying? Oh, anarchy. When I fight, I make the other side panicky with my shot.
So this is very nasal twangy. It sounds very back placed, almost like the tongue's kind of retreating to the back of the mouth. It's a ridiculous sound for me to make. Obviously, a lot of this is character work because he's putting on a really heavy French accent. But it's really nice to hear that tone come through. It thickens it up. It's very muffled, but also kind of punched at the same time. It's got a really nice balance.
Yo, I'm a tailor's apprentice, and I got John knuckleheads and local parentis. I'm joining the rebellion, cause I know it's my chance to socially advance. Instead, it's always the pants, I'm gonna take a shot. But we'll never be truly free until those in.
So, just quickly, we'll go back to this guy here. That is the arytenoid rattle that we spoke about in the last video. The arytenoids are basically the things that open and close your vocal folds. They're pieces of cartilage. When you rattle them together, you get that Cookie Monster sound, that so he's adding that in. I bet he'd make a really good Louis Armstrong as well. That kind of sound really comes through in everything that Louis Armstrong did, and I'm getting that vibe from him purely from that rattle. The larynx is a bit low as well, so it gives that kind of darkness to that sound, which really kind of aids. You get a real force to it. It's really good.
Bondage have the same rights as you and me. You and I do or die. Wait till I sally in on a stallion with the 1st Black Battalion. Have another shot.
Geniuses, lower your voices. You keep.
So this guy's got a high placed larynx, a lot more oral twang. Hey, I need to stop making these sounds. His delivery is probably the most modern sounding out of all of them. He's got loads of swag in his delivery. Like, it's just very, very cool.
Keep out of trouble and you double your choices. I'm with you, but the situation is fraught. You've got to be carefully taught. If you talk, you're gonna get shot.
Bird, check what we got.
I keep cutting off the very beginnings of all the other ones, so I apologise. But Aaron Burr, his voice kind of sounds like a blend of all of them, maybe minus the guy with the accent. Although we could argue that there's kind of an almost backplaced sound there. He's got a little bit of texture, he's got a little bit of twang, he's got a little bit of that lower larynx kind of work going on. And it just gives that authoritative sound that I said in the last time. He's very calm, cool, collected. You feel like he knows his stuff. He's a character that's definitely got his together.
Mr. Lafayette, hard rock like Lancelot. I think your pants look hot, Lorenz, I like you a lot. Attach a plot, blacker than the kettle calling the pot. What are the gods? The gods would put us all in one spot. Pop in a squad in conventional wisdom, like it or not. A bunch of revolutionary manumission abolitionists. Give me a position, show me where the ammunition is.
So he's pushing past the natural point where you would want to breathe in. If you were to take a breath, really relax, feel where it wants to go back in. And then when you breathe out, just keep pushing. There's a point that it starts to get a little bit kind of laboured, and he's rapping into that place. And when that happens, you get that real kind of desperate kind of sound. It's really effective for character choice, rather than taking little breaths in between those lines to try and keep that air level stable. He's letting it go way too fast so that it gets to like this, and you get a little bit more pressure, and it kind of goes to that point where you're like, and you have to take a breath. It's called a recoil breath. Amazing. Very, very good.
Oh, am I talking too loud? Sometimes I get overexcited, shoot off at the mouth. I never had a group of friends before. I promise that I'll make y'all proud.
Let's get this guy in front of a crowd.
I am not throwing away my shot. I am not throwing away my shot. Hey yo, I'm just like my country. I'm young, scrappy, and hungry, and I'm not throwing away my shot.
Okay, there seems to be a lot more voices than there are human beings. So I don't know whether they're playing a track or whether there's like a chorus line somewhere else in the room and we can't see them. But you can hear like a much more varied amount of voices coming through here.
I am not throwing away my shot. I am not throwing away my shot. Hey yo, I'm just like my country. I'm young, scrappy, and hungry, and I'm not throwing away my shot.
Everybody sing! Whoa, whoa, whoa! Hey! Whoa! 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 So let them hear ya!
That's cool. So the guy at the end, he's got a load of grit coming through there. That's more akin to a shout that has lots and lots of false vocal fold activity, not to the point of constriction, but just very textured. And when you hear them all singing in unison, it still sounds like they're in a vertical thyroid position. So it's not sweet sounding, it's not got loads of vibrato, it's wah, rather than it's not got that kind of energy to it. This might sound weird, but that kind of makes it sound more kind of grassroots. You sound like you're dealing with like real people. It's not being like performed per se. It's more like involved in that.
Let's go! Whoa, whoa, whoa! I said shout it to the rooftop! Whoa! Sit to the rooftop! Whoa! Come on! Come on, let's go! Rise up!
A little bit coming through now, that oh, but not the whole way. Just like on the ends of some of these phrases they're tilting. And that's giving a little bit, a lick of that smooth, kind of sweeter sound.
When you're living on your knees, you rise up. Tell your brother that he's gotta rise up. Tell your sister that she's gotta rise up. When are these colonies gonna rise up? When are these...
So that little bit there, he kept his larynx relatively high, mid to high, even when he was hitting those lower notes. So you didn't get that darkness of sound. It keeps that sounding kind of youthful almost. Whereas if he'd gone, I'm not gonna rise up, and actually dropped his larynx with that sound, it would have gone like woof through the floor and then popped back up. But because he kept that larynx high, he kept the sound kind of bright and more in keeping with the character.
Colonies gonna rise up. When are these colonies gonna rise up? When are these colonies gonna rise up? Rise up!
I imagine death so much it feels more like a memory. When's it gonna get me? In my sleep, 7 feet ahead of me?
So now this is pretty much just speech. It's to pitch, so it's still in keeping with the song, but he's definitely in way more of a speechy kind of position. Everything's in its kind of most relaxed place, if you like. He's not doing anything singy. He's not putting any like extra effort in to kind of push the sound. It's very, very, very speechy. And it's a great way to kind of take that kind of build into that big chant and kind of call and response and then bring it down into this little place. You kind of listen to it more. You get a little bit more focus on what he's trying to say.
If I see it coming, do I run or do I let it be? Is it like a beat without a melody? See, I never thought I'd live past 20. Where I come from, some get half as many. Ask anybody why we living fast and we laugh, reach for a flash. We have to make this moment last, that's plenty.
So he's actually starting to go more into the rap territory now. He's starting to add that twang in. He's got a little bit of texture coming through and he's getting more rhythmic with it. So that's a really steady build from speech into rap, and it's so gradual that it almost happens without you kind of realizing it. It's really nice, good.
Scratch that. This is not a moment, it's the movement where all the hungriest brothers with something to prove. When foes oppose us, we take an honest stand. We roll like Moses, claiming our promised land. And if we win our independence, is that a guarantee of freedom for our descendants? Or will the blood we shed begin an endless cycle of vengeance and death with no defendants? I know the action in the street is exciting, but Jesus, between all the bleeding and fighting I've been reading and writing, we need to handle our financial situation. Are we a nation of states? What's the state of our nation? I'm past patiently waiting to...
I like the texture that he can add into his voice. It kind of sounds aged, if that makes sense. It's almost like he's slackening his folds a little bit to let that kind of erratic bubbling sound come through. If you're to slacken your folds completely, you get fry. So, you can kind of mix it through if you like, but not completely. You just get a touch, a little lick of that sound. And he does it really, really well.
passionately smashing every expectation, every action, act of creation. I'm laughing in the face of casualties and sorrow. For the first time I'm thinking past tomorrow. And I am not throwing away my shot. I am not throwing away my shot. Hey yo, I'm just like my country. I'm young, scrappy, and hungry, and I'm not throwing away my shot. We gonna rise up, time to take a shot. We gonna rise up, time to take a shot. We gonna rise up, rise up.
I like this. Rise up. They lean really heavily on almost like a Z kind of sound. Rise up. And you get that like lovely little blend. It's almost like a scoop, but super, super, super fast. I like it.
Time to take a shot. Rise up, rise up. It's time to take a shot. Rise up. It's time to take a shot. Rise up. Take a shot, shot. Hey yo, it's time to take a shot. Time to take a shot. And I am not throwing away my shot.
Yes. That was really good. Okay, My Shot, done. Probably the most rap heavy song we've done so far, but it's nice to hear their individual characters and the individual vocal recipes that they put to their raps. They all sound completely different, so it does give you that variety even though they're singing quite similar phrases. This is going to be a good show. I'm going to enjoy this. So hope you liked that reaction. If you did, please give it a like and a thumbs up down below. And if you want to see more from me, hit subscribe, ring the bell, and anytime I have new content, you will be the first to know. So I guess all that's left for me to say is thank you so much for joining me. And how are we going to buy this one? So I guess all that's left for me to say is thank you so much for joining me, and don't forget to watch all of my stuff. I said don't forget to watch all of my stuff and like and subscribe. Ugh, that was bad and wrong, but it's done now. So bye.